the bed to you, okay? It's going to come wrapped in plastic, okay? It's gonna come with this cable. This is our cable, the Arjo cable. You are required to hook this up to the call system in the patient's room, okay? This will allow the exit alarm to go through the call system and not isolate it in the room so you can actually get to the patient, okay? So the first thing you wanna do before you even put the patient on is zero the bed, right? You've done that probably a million times. You hit zero, it goes to zero. But wait for that to go away, okay? Because if you bump into it, you always have that one person that's bumping into stuff, right? It'll keep trying to zero. And you don't want to put your patient on there when it says zero because you could potentially zero your patient. Then you have another problem. Okay, so I'm gonna use that as my weight. So, next to the zero, there's two buttons there. Which button do you think is the button to get the patient weight?
Probably this one, or probably that one.
Yes.
Not that one.
Oh, you almost had it. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean.
So let me show you what that does. This is your patient weight button.
Yes.
When you hit it, you're going to get your immediate results, and this button bounces between pounds and kilos. Very important to know that, and the reason I ask you to do that because I want you to remember that, because your colleagues in half the hospital is pressing that button because it looks like a scale. This button here is the add or subtract equipment button. When I press that button, it's going to go into auto. Remember you said auto? Okay, what that means is that my weight is stored in memory. And now the bed is frozen and ready for you to add equipment or take equipment off, and it's going to completely ignore it. So whenever you see auto, you're in the middle of a procedure. So now you can add all your pumps, take off all your pumps, and it won't be included as part of the weight. But here's the key. You're supposed to hit it again to turn it off, to tell it to do the calculations. What's happening here, we're finding, is that people accidentally hit that, it says auto, and they walk away. That's why you see auto all over the place. You go upstairs, half the beds probably say auto. The problem with leaving it in auto is that after a few hours, the bed's like, what's going on? And it's gonna start flashing, giving you error codes and stuff like that. All those problems you have is because of that button there, okay? So if you walk into the room, you see auto, press it again to turn it off. This little screen right here should always be blank, okay? You're in a good situation when it's blank. So another thing you may notice is if you're ever trying to lower the bed, okay, and then you get this on the screen. That's not an R, that's an A. Anti-entrapment sensor. Okay, what does that mean? That means this little sensor right here, they're on every corner of the bed looking for obstructions. If something falls under there, you will, no matter what you do, you will never be able to lower it. In emergency situations, not ideal, okay? So when I walk into the room, if I see that, I know right away there's something under the bed. It could be a person, a pump, a pillow, you just need to look under there. That is why we give you these little clips here to hang all your peripherals, your Foleys, your FMS, outside of the line of, you know, where the sensor is looking for stuff, okay? Empty screen, lockouts. Do you know how to lock the bed out? Have you ever had to deal with that?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So this bed can be locked out to prevent the family member or the patient from articulating the control. If I hit the lock button, I can now, that's my lock menu. I can now tap the controls that I want to lock out. Now I exit out of my lock menu. Now, see those yellow lights? The bed is locked. And if you look real closely, there's little lock icons on it. So if you, now the patient can't articulate the control, neither can the family member, but neither can night shift because they didn't come to the training, okay? So it happens all the time. They call us at 2 a.m., the bed's not working. First thing we ask, are there any yellow lights? Go back into the lock menu, turn them off, and then exit out and you're good, okay? That's critical because we've had some situations here during a resuscitation where the nurse could not, the nurse had it locked and this, so she had a double whammy. So that's why just be aware of what's happening with your bed, okay? The exit alarm, do you use exit alarms upstairs? Okay, so this is your exit alarm here. All you have to do is press and hold and you get a little light, okay? That little light lets you know that it's on, the exit alarm, so that if the patient tries to egress out, it's going to trigger through the call system. You also have sensitivity here. You have 10 levels of sensitivity. If I have the light all the way over here, look at my picture, it won't trigger until the patient leaves the bed. So like if the patient's getting out of bed to go to the bathroom, you want to be notified, you know, that's there. But if you have a patient who's high risk, you don't want them pulling out their tube or something like that, if I press and hold this button, I can drag the light all the way over there. That'll be the most sensitive. You have 10 levels of sensitivity. That's the exit alarm that you would hear in the room, but of course it's going to go through the call system and beep everything. You come to the room, you can silence it for 30 seconds or just press either one of those buttons to turn it off. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, got it? All right, so this handout has all that stuff I just showed you. Okay, so let's talk about the front of the bed. Because it's funny, everybody that I've asked today about the front of the bed, they say, we don't even mess with it. But this is probably the most important part of the bed because this is a wound care patient, okay? The Citadel is designed for 500 pounds and below, okay? But look at this. I think a lot of them don't play with it because it's intimidating, right? But this controls the air to the cushions. That is the power on and off. You've seen that before. You can actually lock this out if you needed to, okay? This bed is unique in that it turns. So I can do a turn assist, left or right, okay? And it'll turn my patient 20 degrees and park it there so I can clean them up, do a dressing change, whatever, and then put him back. It also has continuous turn, okay? But this bed will not turn if some conditions exist. Let me cut through here. Okay.
If the head of the bed.
Yeah, so if the side rail is down, the bed's not going to turn. And with this bed, all side rails need to be up. It's not a restraint. This bed is exempt from that. It's in the CMS manual regarding these type of specialty beds that turn and have air. Because if you have it like this, critical common sense is going to tell you your patient's going to fall. Okay, so it won't let me turn. The way you fix that, it tells you right there. Okay, it goes away, now I can turn. Okay, now the other thing, like you mentioned, was the 30 degrees. So a lot of people don't realize that if, you know, the bed's turning and they come in to do patient care and they start raising the head of the bed, not really realizing that the bed is kind of turning and stuff. So once I get to past 30 degrees, I'm gonna get very familiar alarm that nobody knows what it is. That one, the wah wah. So this bed only has 2 alarms. The exit alarm, the ee, going through the call system, and the wah wah. When you hear the wah wah, that means the bed was turning and somebody either raised the head of the bed or dropped the side rail. So you probably want to check on the patient. And the way you know is you come over here, the alert symbol is lit up and it tells me I took the bed 30 degrees. Okay, had I dropped the side roll, this one would have been up. So all I got to do, somebody told me here today, and I kid you not, that the alarm had been going off for a whole week and they would just silence it and then every 20 minutes come and shut it off. I just cringed. So if I correct the issue, okay, bring it back, and then hit the alarm, go away, see how it clears it, resets it, okay? Seat deflate, have you ever used that?
Yeah.
Okay, this is perfect for deflating the middle section of the bed so you can slide bedpans in and out and have the patient get out of the bed. It's rehab's favorite button. Head deflate. It deflates the head section to hyperextend the neck for what? Intubation, central line placement, or on a med-surg floor to wash the patient's hair. Okay? Max inflate firms up the cushion so you can slide the patient up or down, transfer them to a gurney. Patient transport. I'm shocked how nobody even uses this, especially because this is a wound care patient. Okay? We have a potential flap, graft, the multiple decubes. If I was going to take this patient to CT and I unplug the bed, what do you think is going to happen to my cushion? It's going to completely deflate. I'll probably make it to CT with some air, but coming back, the patient's going to be bouncing all over the frame. Not ideal for a wound. So if you hit this button before you get ready to go, and start gathering all your equipment. It's going to give you those 2 beeps that let you know that it locked all the air. Now you can unplug it, and 2 hours worth of air stays in the cushion. Okay, so you can come back and forth. When you get the patient's weight, one of the first things you want to do is come over here. See this little graph? It goes from 100 to the max weight of 500. Just push this button and get the weight set to approximately what the patient's weight is, as close as you can get. If you do the presets, you never have to mess with these little ones here, okay? So I showed you turn assist, the continuous turn is nice, but the whole reason you rent this bed is for this wound care setting right here. All of the Citadel beds need to be set on the very top setting, okay? What that does, there's 20 cushions in here. It defaults to 10,
we'd love to have
but
it right
every
here.
10 minutes, every other cushion is going to deflate so that the patient is suspended in air by 2 cushions with 0 pressure in between, okay? So essentially what this bed is doing, 50% of the patient's body is levitating, okay? After 10 minutes, it's going to switch to the other 50%. 0 pressure is ideal. And then plus that movement promotes blood flow, lymphatic flow, and helps heal the wound. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, any questions? You got it? All right. So that's the Citadel. Okay? And this little handout here, like I showed you, has all the controls, especially how to do the road trip, patient transport, and then like I said, all the troubleshooting stuff on there. So. Okay? Good? All right, so I think we just need to do the bariatric.
Oh, very nice.
So,
We have this cheat sheet on the unit, on the harm board across from the board.
so this one will hold up to 1,000 pounds. This is the Citadel Plus. Okay, so I'm going to give you the scenario and I want you to set it up because this happens a lot here. So I want you to, you're going to take the patient, get the patient out of bed, you're going to start rehabbing him. I want you to put the bed in the lowest position and raise their head to 30 degrees, okay, on the bariatric bed. So go ahead and try that.
We should be scoring at 0, not like if it's whatever. So that's
On that moment.
Okay, so remember the screen should always be blank.
Yes.
If you see that, that means something's in the way, okay? That was my dust bunny right there, okay?
Okay.
So you've done that, so you've cleared, so let's see, go ahead and lower the bed.
It's locked.
Okay,
So
very good, you see that.
all this would be down behind connected.
Okay, and then exit out, always exit out.
Here.
Oh.
Yeah, hit it one more time. Okay, now try and lower the bed.
This one should
Okay, you're good. So just so you know, this scenario was the scenario where they had a resuscitation and the nurse just couldn't manipulate the control. So that was pretty quick. You were actually the best one so far that was able to get it for me. But it's just the simple things. If you just make sure your screen is clear, make sure you don't have no yellow buttons, you're good.
it just
Takes a while, yeah. You get used to it. I know these beds, unfortunately, backwards and forwards. So CPR on that one, you have a lever, just like that. When you pull that lever, that bed is going to go flat and deflate all at once because that mattress is built into the frame. This bariatric mattress is a separate entity. So the way it's a 2-step process, you pull the lever to flatten the frame, and then you got to come over here, and you have to actually let air out of the pump or out of the cushions. Okay. The easiest way is you got 500, 600 pounds up here. You want to use that gravity. So all you have to do, turn the air off, because if you don't, you're going to blow dry everybody's hair. So you turn that off and then disconnect your hoses, and the patient's weight is going to take you flat. Okay? When you're done, you just connect these back up. They're color coded. Okay? And then turn your air back on, and you're back in business. You're back in the bariatric business when you do that. All right? Pretty straightforward?
Yeah.
Okay? Those are the main key points that I wanted to go. My technicians, when they deliver these beds, I really do expect them to set them up, like, because this bed can be expanded. If that's not happening, I need to know, okay? Because I want them to set the widths, because this bed can be set from a 36-inch all the way to 48-inch, okay? I want to make sure that they're doing that for you guys, okay? All right, there's your